here. And also we have the President Commissioner for Pertamina, Basuki Purnama. Thank you so much. Mr. Purnama as well on that, and I'll come back to what you're talking about. But I think a great focus there. Please, again, where do you see the national oil company of the future? Because things are changing rapidly, and we've seen them with many of the bigger companies. And then in light of what the demands of the public in, Jakarta are, what you need, of course, in your country as well. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, thank you. I think for us is how to use Pertamina, our national oil company, to increase the people welfare. What we want to do is, like we talk about, we have, I think the largest in the world, we have a crude palm oil. We really want to focus in like a biofuel, even a bioethanol. We believe in the future of this world, people talk about environment, people talk about the health issue. Many people want to talk about electric vehicle. I think this already in the market, China or Europe, they have their own market. But Indonesia, we have our own market too, with 250 million. We believe in the future, who has the big market will control the market. That's what we're planning now. We want to develop. We have 83,000 fillets. Our dream is to become the supply chain, logistic chain in our 83,000 fillets. For what? We want to sell in a one price, the product, because Indonesian ideology is how to give justice to all the people. What we do now is we give a subsidy to the poor and needy people, but with the different price. That's why too many fraud. So our dream is how to use our gas station in the whole village with a non-cash payment to every day keep updating who have the right call the poor and the needy. So we will subsidy directly to the person, use a banking system. That's our dream. How about the oil? We have developed almost 6 new refineries, our planning. But this refinery is like dual mode when to convert to the petrochemical. We believe in the future, people will talk about the petrochemical. That's our dream in Indonesia. First is a biofuel. We talk about supply chain, logistic. And the most important is how to make sure the poor people and the needy got their right. And when we use this Pertamina, it's like a big conglomerate, in Indonesia. If we say like this, in 2009, the top of the conglomerate of Indonesia, their EBITDA only $2.5 billion US. Pertamina got a 9.2. This is still small, actually, if you use benchmarking in the world. But for us, it's like the biggest conglomerate in Indonesia. So our dream is, in the next 5 years, we want to develop a new University of Pertamina, become a research, innovation, industry, technology center. Maybe we will spend almost 100 million US dollar in this 5 years in R&D. That's our dream. We want to move to the new capital city. In Kalimantan, they have a palm plantation, they have a coal mining, they have also the oil and gas mining. So we want to make this area become the new for R&D. We believe in this next 5 years, we spend 100 million or 200 million from our profit to find out how to create the new fuel, new healthy, when people try to leave the fossil fuel. That's our dream.
Well, we'll look at that in just a minute, but go into more detail in terms of what you're doing, because there's it's an exciting time, I think, in the industry for everybody. And it's interesting how you talk too about making sure there's energy for the poor. This is a big issue, particularly in Africa, not too long ago. Daily crude production is something about 750,000 at the moment. but your consumption is 1.4 million. Now, I believe your president recently has also said that you want to reduce imports. So there's clearly a gap there. When demand is higher than supply, you have to bring imports in. How are you going to manage that?
First, we already plan a big exploration for these 5 or 10 years. We also already accomplished the seismic. We already could find I think we have a big reservoir we could find from this first seismic. We already accomplished from the west until the east side. And we also want to change our regulation about the tax. So, Mr. President have a new tax law to help the investor come for exploration. Because now most of the oil company don't interest to do exploration in Indonesia. And the last 3 years, maybe they changed to the gross split. The one is production sharing contract. So now we open the 2 options, which one the investor want to choose. And the second is we have a big opportunity also in the gas production. We want to convert all our electricity power to use a gas. And we also open the gas for developing the methanol factory. Because we use a biofuel, we need a farming is come from CPO and the methanol. There's also we want to have our own methanol plant. This year we are planning to develop a 1 million output capacity of methanol. We have a gas we sell to the Singapore, and we'll stop in 2023. We will stop to sell to Singapore. This year we will start to develop a methanol factory. And we believe if we change the regulation, the people will come for do more exploration. And we open for cooperate with all the national oil company. What we want is a strategic long-term. Talk to Nigeria, maybe some dispute, we want to talk again. That's why today I introduce our CEO, maybe you have to know, Ibu.
Yes, we're very honored she's here with us. So
and also we have Pak Hasto, is how to deal with the oil company. Our policy is very clear. We want a long strategic partner. The president will sign is with the AHOK. We really want end-to-end until from the crude oil until to the petrochemical. We open everything for this.
Thank you. And I do want to talk more about the downstream. In fact, for perhaps, maybe stay with this at the moment, and I'm going to look at the downstream in Nigeria as well and see how things are looking at that. You're looking, again, at ambitious plans, 6 refineries that you're looking at in Indonesia. Yeah. How is the investment climate at the moment in terms of getting those? Obviously, you need the end product. It makes no sense to be importing product into Indonesia, into any country. You may as well do it there. I think every country should be probably doing that, but you're never too late to do it. But this is probably something you should have been looking at, in the last few years. How are you sure that now you can actually get the funding to go ahead and get these refineries underway?
How about the funding? Our big dream is we want to have a market cap $100 billion from our subsidiary. That's why in our planning, from the shipping, from the retail business, in our calculation, now we have used many advisors and consultants to do this. Our dream, we have a market cap of 100 billion. We will use our subsidiary, we will go to the market. Not the Pertamina, the subsidiary. Because our cost become the revenue from our subsidiary company. That's why this year we hope in this year, maybe June or July, we will roadshow this is the planning to meet many national oil company and also like the investor to talk about this.
Now, of course, it's a competitive landscape, and all of the national oil companies, are beginning, they're out there knocking on investors' door looking for that very highly competitive dollars that are there. It's important to make strong relationships with many of the IOCs and indeed with other companies in Indonesia too about that competition for investment. Like when investors are looking in the region and of course right around your region, how do you make sure that you get their attention to come to Indonesia rather than, other projects that are going to be going on by, other countries nearby?
Yeah, first, the Mr. President already show very clear. We will have a very good transparency. That's why he put me in the chairman to transform this Pertamina to become the new system company. We don't want to do many, that we say, the markup or corruption again. This very strong message from the Mr. President. We fight for this corruption, nepotism. We use the transparent. Like this year, we will recruit from the Anti-Corruption Commission people. Maybe we will recruit 100 to become our internal auditor. We just have appointed the new chief internal auditor. And we changed the system in this company. We will give a good incentive for the board of director. And if they have become a board of commissioner and subsidiary, they do it as a pro bono. You could not do it just want to increase the salary. And we also talk with the transaction agency to point out who have the big money. We believe the root of every problem in our national oil company is corruption. Too many high costs like shipping, like exploration, or gas. Mr. President very upset about our gas price. It's too high. The Mr. President want at least under $4. If we could do this, we believe many factory industry will invest in Indonesia. That's what this second term of our president. And Mr. President said, we have nothing to lose. We just want to leave the legacy in this country. And Pertamina is the one, is our hope to transform this country for the people welfare. Because it's like a big conglomerate, I told you. And we believe it's not difficult for us to have a profit $4 billion a year. Because everything is inefficient. We try to find out. We already appoint like a EY, BCG consultant, McKinsey, to find out which part is a markup and also have a collusion, the corruption between the inside and the outside. And the president like to say it's like a mafia, it's like a godfather. You have to find out. I said, it's easy to find. We just find out. What's the benchmark for the price like a shipping? They're too corrupt in the shipping, in the procurement. We also work with the BCG. BCG. We want to make procurement, we want to copy like a Petronas maybe. We want to make it more efficient. Everything become one central. We really want to control everything. How to do it? Transparency. The bidding, everything is transparency.
And again, I think that's a word we hear, right across the industry. Now, you brought up the word corruption, so I'm sorry, I'm going to have to use that same word. And just when we look at Nigeria, and there's probably, the pressure is on all of the companies to actually make sure that they're playing their part. What pressure is on, your company on Pertamina? What are you finding? What are you doing? You talked a bit about biofuel and all that, but what are you doing? And also, what's the pressure for you to actually make sure that you're part of the energy solution, not just oil and gas? Alternatives, renewables, all of that. Are you bringing that under your umbrella?
Yeah, one of the number one alternative is from gas. We have a big reserve in the gas, and also we have a big resources in biofuel. And also we have a geothermal. It's a big, also we not yet like a wind, water, but that's not our Pertamina part. Our part is we want to develop a biofuel. We want to work with the farmer how to have their own crude palm plantation. The government collect the money from every ton selling of the palm fruit. We have one body. This body will work with us to develop a new factory to supply our biofuel need. This is our planning. And also, what the most important is how to use this situation when we still have a lot of money to help all the fillets use the money. Each fillet, the government send 145,000 US dollar a year. They don't know how to use this money. So we want to use we become the master franchise as a Pertamina. We will manage all this asset, become like a hub. We have the most efficiency supply chain. So every freight will have their own logistics stock. And then we believe Pertamina will also spot like a electric station, like the car, everything. We will move to this to have a sustainable, good environment in Indonesia.
But when we look at, the uptake on electric cars, they're not cheap at the moment. And I do know that there's good supply coming out of China, so closer to home for you of a cheaper electric car. But, realistically, are you ready as a country that, and what's the uptake for electric cars in your country? What are you driving these days?
Yeah, I think for Indonesia, it's no problem with the electric vehicle because in a remote area, they will still use this combusting engine. Like electrical, we have the biggest reserve in a nickel to make this electrical. That's why the China make a big investment in Sulawesi in Indonesia. Because the number one biggest reserve in the nickel, where we have another, but we have to work with the China to provide this market. Indonesia is a huge market, 250 million people. And if we could distribute well to help the poor people and the needy of Indonesia, and if we could have an efficiency in the oil and gas, we believe we could sell the cheaper energy to the people. That's our dream. Our company is how to make the money. Yeah, we will use our logistics supply chain. This is the e-commerce era. Even the e-commerce, you need a logistic. I believe none of the private sector feasible to have their own logistic in the whole area. But we, Pertamina, could do this. Why? Because the CAPEX is not from us. We just OPEC. The CAPEX is come from the village fund. 145,000 US dollar in every village. We have 83,000 villages. Every year, this money use a national budget. That's why we want to combine this, including the private sector in the palm plantation. We want to combine this to provide the poor and the needy, to increase the people welfare. And we believe everybody, even China, Japan, Korea, they have an interest in our market. That's why from the first, I told you, who will lead the energy, transform everything? The country with the biggest population. Indonesia is lucky. We have a demographic surplus. Under 30 years old, 60%. That's why we want to provide the most important, all the villages have to increase their welfare first. That's why we want to use this Pertamina, to use this profit, to use this power. It's like a conglomerate, private sector, combined with the power from the Mr. President to make all of this could happen. That's why one of the reasons the president appointed me as the chairman of this oil company, because he trusts me could transform this, and he will fully back up. I think no chairman in the former national oil company like Pertamina in Indonesia before could directly talk to the Mr. President. I think maybe only me, because I am his deputy before in the government.
Exactly. No, no. And I mean, he was very adamant. He was handpicking you to do a very important job, and you have a huge. Sir, please. Just make sure everybody hears you here.
Yeah, yeah. Myself, Jagan, I work for OECD and I work on the innovation and digitization. So my point is, as the industry is shifting towards the renewables, what is your readiness approach towards the innovation and R&D side?
Indeed, and this it's probably a good one to wrap it up on in terms of, innovation, R&D, and making sure that you're ready to become the NOC of the future. Maybe, shall I start with you, and then I'll give you a closing word on this one. We'll give you a minute to think about it, because you've been busy talking.
Indonesia has many steps in the price. That's why we already have a study, a group. We have a mining company to develop this electric vehicle battery. For Pertamina, we will focus in the distribution supply chain. It's a logistic. That's what we believe. Because in the Southeast Asia, Indonesia is the biggest automotive sales, 32% market share. That's why we will try to shift this. We will maybe follow Japan. Japan is gradually they shift to the electric vehicle. And for the Pertamina, we will focus in distribution supply chain with the advantage, the comprehensive advantage. We have 83,000 fillets with the gas station, the electric station, and the money is not used to Pertamina. We like a master franchise. And we will develop a new R&D university. We'll work with the crude palm money, and we open from another NOC to develop the innovative industry and also the R&D research in this new capital area. That's why in these 5 years, we will spend $100 million from Pertamina to develop this R&D.
Great, and long may this continue. I think we heard from, Saudi Aramco New Energy talking to this morning about all the different smaller startups and people like that they're supporting projects. What would your message be to them in terms of come to Indonesia and invest?
I want to say like this, maybe I will distribute my business card first. So if you have anything problem or difficulty in doing oil and gas business in Indonesia, let me know. I will help you pro bono. No fee, no tipping. I guarantee. Even if you need, I bring you to the president directly, I will bring to you. We really want to do the clean business, transparent, to make our country become the new country, new prospective country, no corruption. We really want our people increase their welfare. We guarantee about that. And we hope in the next 5 years, we could find a new, because the president term already only 2 terms, but I believe he prepared the successor, the same value, the same perspective for our country. That's what we guarantee. Thank you very much.
Good, and we'll get the Nigeria investment message, I think, and also very realistic look at what's going on in both of your countries. And again, it's a lot of ambitious plans there, I think, from both of you. But without a doubt, I think we have the right people in place to make sure that they're there. And I just absolutely love that, determination, I think, from both of you. And I really, really appreciate you sharing with us those great plans you have in place. But again, your almost personal commitment to making sure that they're carried out. So the countries are in the good hands. So I want to thank you all for coming here. Thanks for sharing with us. I hope this has been enlightening for you. I hope it's been somewhat informing educational, and hopefully there's something there that we can all look to and learn. And as you say, you're open for business, so you'll be here with us for the next few days. For another day too, and we'll have an opportunity to talk to you. So, Basuki Purnama, thank you so much for being here, and Mele Kiyari. So once again, thank you so much, gentlemen.